All right, so this is our second day of domain and range. You guys will have an assignment over this in just a little bit, and then it'll be due on Thursday. But just to review from yesterday, can you guys tell me what is domain? The set of which values? Which one goes with domain? All right, domain goes with our x values, and range goes with y. And then just a reminder, we never list the same value twice in a set. So if you have a repeat value in the domain, you only list it once. If you have a repeat value in the range, you only list it once. So yesterday, everything we worked with was in tables. Today, we are going to first look at just sets of points and list domain and range. And then on the back, we will go with graphs. So if we look at this first example, it says list the domain and range for the set of ordered pairs. So first of all, in an ordered pair, which variable is first? Well, when you list a point, is it the x coordinate or the y coordinate that's first? All right, the x coordinate is always first. The y coordinate is always second. So when we are doing the domain, we are looking at the first number in an ordered pair. So these here are part of the domain, all of the x coordinates. So these belong to the domain, and I'm just going to put a little d above them to show they're part of the domain. All right, now can I just list these 3, 2, 4, 5, -1? Can I?
Order.
All right, Gregory, you're right. We've got to put these in order. And what kind of order do we like to put them in?
Negative to positive.
Negative to positive, or another way to say it, least to greatest, right? So we want to put these from least to greatest. So out of all of these, what one's the smallest number? -1. So that took care of this one. And then what's the next smallest number? 2. And then what do we got left? 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's our domain. That took care of everything. So then for our second set, we're dealing with the range. So we're dealing with our y values. So we're working with the second number. All right, so we've got a -2, a 6, another -2. So we're only going to list that one once, right? And then we have an 8 and a 5. So what's my smallest number in my range? -2. And just again, we only list that once. So then we have a 8, a 6, and a 5 left. So what goes next? Yep, 5, 6, 8. So we're just ordering those from least to greatest. That's not too bad, right? It's kind of the same. I mean, it really is the same thing as what we did. But whenever you see things in a table, the X's and Y's are a little bit more organized. So just remember, domain is always the first number in the point. The range is the second number. All right, so let's take a look at number 2. I don't want to zoom in that much. Is that a little better to... No, that's probably too dark. Is that a little easier to see? When I added a little bit of darkness to it, it copied really light. All right, so for domain, we are looking at the first point. So we've got a 0, a -5, a -6, a 0, and a 5. All right, what's the smallest number? -6. Then what? -5. All right, do I list both zeros? Nope, just list it once. So we've taken care of -5, we've -6, and the zeros. What's left? A 5. All right, now for the range, we have a 4, 1, 2, 7, 0. Do we have to list this 0 since we already listed a 0 in the domain?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I wanted to make sure that you guys see that. We have zeros in both the domain and range. The domain and range are completely separate. So if you have zeros in both, you list them in both. All right, so smallest number in the range, do you guys agree, is 0? All right, then what would be the rest of my order? All right, I heard a 1, and then I heard 1, 2, 4, 7. So we were just putting those in order. X coordinates go for domain, Y coordinates go for range. All right, do you guys think you can tackle number 3 by yourself?
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you some time to try that one by yourself. Sorry, I'm just adjusting it to make it look nice. Wake up! All right, so I just took it upon myself to put a box around all of the X coordinates for the domain. Brian, let me know when you have an order for domain. Yep. Okay, so tell me what you got for domain.
0, 1, 3, 5, 6.
All right, do you guys agree or disagree with that? 0, 1, 3, 5, 6.
Agree.
Agree? We're not missing anything. We didn't add any extra numbers. I'm going to say they're all in order. Nice job. All right, what about the range, Weston?
3.
Uh-huh.
-4, -3, -2, 2.
All right, so we've got -4, -3, -2, and 2. All right, how come we have less numbers in the range than we did in the domain? All right, those -2s, we did have a repeat, so we only list those once. We're just saying what values are possible for these, and these are the possible values. All right, are we ready to tackle some graphs? Do you guys think that you could handle this on an assignment? Okay, so, all right, so let's just take a look at a graph. All right, so we have an x-axis and a y-axis, right? Now, one thing that's nice about a graph, for the x-axis, where are the smaller numbers located? So on this x-axis right here, which direction are the smaller numbers? All right, smaller numbers go to the left, right? Because this is the negative side of the x-axis and this is the positive side, right? So if we look at the domain, we're going to read the points from the x-axis from left to right. So the farthest point to the left is this one, right? What's its value? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, -5. All right, so we took care of this point for the domain. Now what about this one? -3. And then this one, what's the x coordinate? -1. Now what's this x coordinate? 0. All right, then we don't have one at 1. Do we have a point at 2? 2. And then we didn't have one at 3, but we have one at 4 and one at 5. Very good.
X and Y, and then put them in parentheses.
Okay. Is it okay for every single one of these points to write the coordinates next to it and then just do it like you did on the front side? Absolutely. I'm trying to get you guys to just think simple. So, was that okay?
Yeah.
All right, so now let's look at the y-axis. Where are the smaller numbers on the y-axis, going towards the top or towards the bottom? All right, the bottom ones are the smaller ones, so we're going to read the y-axis from the bottom up. All right, so do I have any points at -5? -4? -3? -2?
Yes.
All right, there was a point at -2, so that's my smallest number in my range. Do I have a point at -1?
Yes.
Yep. Do I have a point at 0?
Yes.
Yep. Do I have a point at 1? Yep. Do I have a point at 2? I actually have 2 of them. All right, now do I have any points with a y coordinate of 3? What about 4? What about 5? Nope. So there's your range. So for domain, you're just going to read your x-axis from left to right. And for the range, you just read your y-axis from the bottom up. And if you have a point that lines up with that coordinate, then you list it as part of your domain or range. All right, so let's take a look at number 2. All right, so our x-axis, it goes from -6 to +6, but do we have a point at -6? -5? -4?
Yes.
Yep. All right, do we have any points at -3?
Nope. Oh.
-3 is there. I've got 2 points right above it in line with it. So we have a point that has we have 2 points there. Now, do we have any points in this -2? But what about -1? Yep. Now, do we have any points where x is 0? What about 1? What about 2? 3? Do we have any points at 4? What about 5? All right, and then for our range, we start at the bottom. We have no points going with -6, but what about -5? Right there. Do we have any going across at -4? -3? -2? Yep. -1? 0? Yep. And 1? I don't see a point at 2 or 3, but what about 4? There's a couple, but we only have to list it once. Now, I do want to let you guys know, if you find looking at these graphs challenging, just list out the points. So if you want to look at this point, the coordinates for this point is -4, -2. It is totally okay to go through. This one is -3, 1. This one is -3, 4. That one's -1, -1. If you want to write all of the coordinates in and then look at the x coordinates and then look at the y coordinates and put them in order, you can do that. This one is 2, 4. This one is +3, -5. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. So if you want to list out all of your coordinates and then look at your x's and then look at your y's, that's totally okay. But if you just want to read the axis from left to right and then read the y-axis from top or bottom to top, you can do that as well. All right, now what do you guys think about number 3? All right, what do you guys think the domain would be here? -4, -3, 0, 2, 4, 6. So there's our domain. -4, -3, 0, 2, 4, 6. Now what about the range? 3. They're all threes, right? Because this point is -4, 3. This is -3, 3. This is 0, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, and 6, 3. So they all have the same range. The domains are just different. So your assignment, and I will be, it's posted on Canvas, but if you would prefer to do it on paper, I will do that. So you have 8 questions like the front where you have a list of points that you have to order, and then you have 3 graphs at the bottom. And it cut off, so I wrote it. It didn't show up very well, but I do want domain and range. It just kind of cut off the word range at the bottom, but I do want you to list that. These are not due until Thursday, but if you guys finish them today and you want to turn them in and then not have anything to do tomorrow, I'm okay with that. All right, so you guys can go ahead and grab one of those if you want. I got to stop recording.
Bye.